It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie.
Welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. Today, we got Robbie, who is sweating profusely. So if you're watching this on YouTube, oh, by the way, did you know we're on YouTube? Robbie is a genius with video, and he throws it up for my mom and his mom to watch on YouTube because we have 2 subscribers. So in saying that, throw us a bone and go on YouTube and subscribe to our channel, and you can watch us talk instead of listening. I guess you still listen to us talk, though. That wouldn't be...
Yeah, that's a little weird. Watch and
I
listen.
guess you watch and listen to us talk. There's nothing exciting or anything about, you just get to look at our face.
That's it, yeah.
I guess that's exciting for some people, but anyway. Robbie, you just came off of a run, right? You're soaking wet.
I am.
You got sweat in your eyes. I can still see your singlet that you got on.
Yep.
What kind of run did you do?
It was just out and back on a trail that I've never been on before.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it was actually really cool. Found this trail on X, and Mike and I were going out for a run, and I was like, let's go check this out. So we went on it, and we went out like 4 miles, but it was like almost 800 feet of gain each way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not, crazy gain or anything, but
that's kind of like how your mom walked to school uphill both ways type thing.
And that's exactly what we're saying. We're going uphill both ways. But the heat got us a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
Yesterday morning when I got up, it was like, that really fine mist and 28 degrees with the wind chill. Nice. And I think it's like 75 today. I don't know.
Yeah. That South Dakota weather just gets you.
I'm over it. It's not as bad as your weather, but
my weather's not been terrible. Sorry, I had a water burp there. Yeah, it's been 30s in the mornings, 50s in the afternoons. So, during the week I run in the afternoons when it's 50 and a t-shirt and shorts, and then, on the weekends I run in the morning with shorts and a light jacket. So I am not complaining at all about my weather right now. In about another month, when it's 70, I'll be complaining about my weather. And it's funny that people here, they're like, oh, 70 degrees, that must be wonderful. It's not. We don't have AC. So you come in from a hot run of 70, 80 degrees, and you're continuously sweating. So anyway, hey, we have a guest today, Ashley Pipkin. She is an ultra runner. She is also a cross-country coach and ran cross country. She's new to the ultra scene. She has some pretty impressive podium finishes under her belt. And so welcome to the podcast, Ashley. Well,
thank you.
Welcome to the podcast, Ashley. Can't say that fast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad that you were willing to come on this very small town, small time podcast called Golden Hour Adventures.
Hey, I've given it a few listens. You have more than 2 subscribers for sure. And
well, we have a few.
My mom will be one too. So
nice. Count it. Ashley's podcast is going to have 3 subscribers on it, so we're excited. Well, Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself. Mentioned a little bit that you ran cross country in high school. Is that where your running, career and journey started, or were you? I guess like high school, that's kind of like where everybody starts. I mean, maybe middle school. I don't know.
Yeah,
Can you run us through the presidential mile when you were in elementary school?
That is so funny that you say that, because that's actually where it started.
Oh my gosh.
It's not an exaggeration. So I was a nerd in like middle school, elementary school, did 0 sports. But I heard the word test at the end of presidential fitness test. And I went to my dad and I said, I have to train. I have to get this many push-ups and run this time in the mile. And both of my parents worked out. We had like a home gym and stuff. They were really active. We spent a lot of time outdoors, but just I never did any like structured sports. But my dad was like, yeah, absolutely. So we started training for the presidential fitness test that I had to do in like 3rd grade and 6th grade or something like that.
How funny.
And yeah, I definitely wasn't like talented right out the gate. I just worked really hard. And I remember like my first mile that I ever ran on the treadmill was like a 12:47, and I was so proud because I like wrote it in my little diary.
That's great.
But yeah, from there I ran track in middle school and loved it. I started as a sprinter, and then just kept like moving up in distance. So the farther.
And what distance is sprinters for? Like me,
yeah.
I don't truly. I mean, I ran track, so I have somewhat of an idea. But are we talking about like the 100-meter to the 400-meter, or?
Yeah, I ran like the 100 and 200 in middle school because I was like relatively faster than the other kids I was running with and against. And then getting to like sophomore year, I started running the 400. And then junior year, I think I stuck with the 400, but just kind of like stagnated where I was at. I remember I like fell across the line dramatically trying to make the state, you know. And it was small town high school. So I was like good for that level, but then I started running the 800 my senior year and had some unfinished business, and I think some potential there. So I was okay with like high school running ending and going to college. I was like really okay with my running just being recreational. But then I got to college and nobody wanted to run with me and couldn't find anyone to work out with. And so I was really either stupid or brave and just cold emailed the coach at Missouri State and said, hey, do you ever take walk-ons? Here's what I've done. Like, I hope you could maybe talk with me or meet with me. And he gave me a chance. And that's how I got into running at Missouri State, and was really fortunate to like meet my best friends there. And I eventually like contributed at the conference level and like got a scholarship and stuff. So
awesome. That's cool.
It was amazing. I've been so fortunate.
I do have some questions about collegiate running. There's been a lot of, here and there, you hear a lot of negative talk about how they train the collegiate athlete versus someone who's like a professional athlete. You know, someone who's a professional athlete has access to dietitians, PTs, strength coaches, run coaches, you name it. They have the plethora as a professional athlete. Do you also have that access as a collegiate athlete?
In my experience, somewhat. Our program didn't have all of those resources, but there are definitely collegiate programs that do.
Now, in saying that, yeah, I know probably some of the bigger one, like D1 schools, probably, I would assume.
Well, and we are D1.
Okay.
We had a dietitian that was a resource for us if we wanted it. We had strength and conditioning coaches that we saw like each week. But we didn't have like an indoor track. We didn't have like the kind of funding that a lot of other D1 schools have to provide those resources. We didn't have like an athletics dining hall or anything like that. Yeah. But I mean, we still, yeah, I had a good experience there for sure.
Okay. What mileage were you still running the 800?
Yeah. So I went from kind of 400, 800 to 800, 1500 in college. And obviously like focused more on cross country too, because I only did that my junior and senior year of high school. So I upped my mileage a lot. Got up to around like 50 miles per week, like by my sophomore year. And then the summer before my senior year, I had a 70-mile week that I was like so proud of.
And that's college or high school?
Correct. That was college. Okay. I didn't do mileage in high school. We ran for time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you always hear a lot of horror stories when people are collegiate athletes. They're running 100, 120 miles a week, and, you know, they're constantly injured, or, you know, their scholarships are up in the air because you can't participate because you're injured. And, you know, I hear all about it. I have a really good friend who was a collegiate athlete and ran 120 miles a week. And, had stress fractures all the time and had all kinds of issues that was going on, and was constantly worried about his scholarship going away. And so you hear about all these other athletes that are the same. And so really surprised and actually glad to hear that, 50, 60, 70-mile weeks was normal. That's high still, but, for someone who is focused on running a certain distance and putting in the time, and, you're doing it as scholarship, that's great. And it seems like you had the backing and the support to be able to support those higher mileage weeks as well.
Yeah, our coach cared about our overall health quite a bit. Like, I'm sure he would have loved to see us up our mileage and be able to put track and cross country above everything else. But I think the balance of being a college athlete is like, we have the stress of school and everything else going on at the same time. And like, are we getting enough sleep? Maybe, hopefully most of the time, but there's so much else going on that we're trying to balance that. I think he kind of knew that 50 to 70 for some of us was going to be enough, or it was going to be too much to ask more. So,
and even then, that's a part-time job. 50 to 70 miles a week is a part-time job. I was having this conversation with my friend this morning on our run, and he's like, I'd really like to run an ultra marathon, but I just don't know if I want to dedicate the time to train for it. It is a time-consuming deal, and if you're in college and you're putting in 70 miles a week, you're running a little bit faster than what we are running, ultra training, but, you're still probably putting in 8 to 12 hours a week of solid training. And that doesn't include all the other strength and conditioning. And so, I think that, I applaud your coach. I think that's smart, as opposed to what I've heard, almost doubling the mileage of other athletes.
I find it interesting, us as run coaches ourselves, and we have our athletes training for hundreds, running 50 to 70 miles a week.
Yeah.
You are running a very short distance compared to what ultra people do. I would love to pick the mind of one of these coaches and why they have their athletes running this amount of miles for these shorter distance. For us with the ultra world, it's time on feet and some other stuff. If you're running 800 or the cross country at 5K ish, and you're running 70 miles a week, I just have a hard time understanding why. There's like, when you're running shorter races, quality workouts matter, quality miles matter. When you start getting into junk miles at those shorter distances, I just don't understand what the benefit is. That's maybe just my ultra mind wondering.
Yeah. So between like cross country and track, since I was more mid-distance focused in track, my mileage would usually go down. And like my friends who ran like 5K and 10K in outdoor track season, their mileage wouldn't necessarily increase, but like my best friend Shelby would be running 70 or 80. Whereas like me and my friend Edna would be running like 35 to 40 sometimes on meet weeks. So I think he did a good job of keeping it individualized. And, you hear about athletes like Parker Valby who just cross train like crazy. So it's definitely like an individual thing. And now that I'm coaching, like realizing how much problem solving you have to do, and like knowing how much you do have to individualize training, like it's really hard. There's not like a one size fits all kind of recipe for it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, how did you do collegiately? Do you have any accolades? I don't want to bring anything up if it's negative, but
it's fine. I was like, for the most part, just really happy to be there.
Yeah.
Like the first 2 years, I definitely had like a little bit of imposter syndrome because I was like, I can't believe I'm running collegiately. And the imposter syndrome was like kind of big for the first couple years, I guess. And that is still like kind of lingering in my mind as a part of like my overall experience, even though like no one there made me feel that way. That was just all me. But by, I guess, my junior year, we got second in the the DMR at conference. So I do have like a little trophy there. or not a trophy, a medal. But yeah, no like school records for me or like really big conference performances for me. I contributed like to the team cross country wise, but I wasn't like ever our fastest girl or anything like that. But I was a good workout partner. I like to I helped other girls be the fastest.
Hey, sometimes you need that friend that just like
Yep.
will just come out and chug along with you on every single run. I love that.
If anything, I was that.
That's awesome.
I just learned about the medley. My daughter is running the medley. I was like, she was telling me, I'm like, what are you talking about? But that's like the one. I think that's one of the coolest things. Like, she does the 2x2s and the 400, and I'm like, in the 400, I always feel so bad for the 400, right? Because they have to go out there and just put it all on the line, and they're trying to catch up or whatever, or trying to hold it. I'm just like, I don't know. I just fell in love with the medley. I think that's just so cool to watch.
Yeah, it's a fun event for sure.
You talked a little bit about cross country, and so you ran cross country high school and in college, and now you're a cross country coach. One thing I want to know is how did they score a team for cross country? I know that you have your individual accolades of you won the race type thing, but you compete as a team as well. So how does that work?
Yeah, so the top five. So a team is 7 athletes. The top 5 in your team will score points based on their finishing place. So if you come first in the meet, you score 1 point. If you come second, you'll score 2 points. So if like a perfect score would be if all 5 of your top athletes come 1 through 5 in your in the meet. Runners 6 and 7 don't score points, but they can displace other runners. So if your 6th and 7th runner come in before another team's 4th and 5th runner, then you're increasing the other team's score.
Yeah.
So
they don't count towards your score, but they can take away from other people's.
correct. Yeah. So you want to have the lowest score possible.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I never knew. I've always seen like cross country and there's like 500 people that take off all at once in this massive field and, run a 5K. Is it 10K in college? Is that what it is in college or is it still a 5K?
They're moving towards 6K for women
6K.
primarily. And then
that's right. The men and women's are different. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Run like 8K or 10K. Yeah.
Okay. I was, when I lived in Rapid City, there was this, high school kid that was like breaking all the records in South Dakota. And so we just happened to be at an ultra that was in the area and we went and watched him win the state meet. And so that's the most I know about cross country. And then all the parents run across the fields back and forth. I thought it was like, what are you doing? What are you going to say to him? Like, keep going. I don't know. It's funny.
Always just chaos. And the end is just carnage. And then in the middle, like all the spectators running at least twice the distance of the runners to see them however many times. It's incredible.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Like you have to be a runner family if your child is participating in cross country because mom and dad got to be able to throw down to get to the other side of the field. And they got to be able to throw bows to get around everybody. So like you have to be a strength training master and a past collegiate athlete to be able to sprint across the field. Do you think the parents do more work than the kids do?
I don't know about that. I don't know if they're redlining that much, but
the coach also runs too though, right? Like y'all have to bounce back and forth and
yeah, to spectate a cross country meet is a respectable event.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. What do you enjoy most about coaching cross country?
The kids, they're a good group. They're funny. Cross country kids, if you've ever been around a group of like usually it's the cross country boys that get the reputation for being just like kind of weird. They are so funny and so weird. They just make it so fun and they work so hard. Like as a coach, like I'm probably supposed to be the source of like inspiration and like driving them to succeed, but it's reciprocal. Like their hard workouts will make me go run a little extra hard in my long run or whatever. Like I'll be thinking about their workouts while I'm doing mine, and it's just like the coolest thing ever.
Now, do you run with them?
When I can, yeah. When I coached at Mustang, I ran with them for a while, and then um, we had a coach that would like stay back and kind of like collect them as they were all like coming in after the run, or she would drive around and make sure everyone was like safe on the roads. And she got in an accident, so then I had to take over like driving, and I just watched from the window and wave as they went. But yeah, when I get the opportunity to, I definitely do.
Nice. What does structured training look like for, a junior cross country individual?
Um,
Do you coach both men, boys and girls?
yeah,
You're one and all. Okay.
yeah. So, I've structured their training based on my college training. And it's looked different between where I coached last year at Mustang, which was, 6A Oklahoma, where the kids really were putting in like close to 40 or 50 miles a week, to now here I am in 2A Tennessee, where we've got like 20 kids or so that are, their longest run a few weeks ago was like 6 miles. It's looked a little bit different, but the structure has been like workouts on Tuesday and Thursday, or Tuesday and Friday. Tuesday will be like a volume day, and Friday will be a speed day. And then Wednesday for like my mid distance kids. So I've also roped in like 400 and 800 into this group.
Oh, nice.
They'll do some active recovery. They'll do hurdle drills. The kind of more like 2 mile kids will go out for a medium long run with some hills. And then Mondays and Thursdays are just kind of junk mileage days with strides, but we're really intentional about our strides. We've been working on getting strength training in, but here we have to share facilities. So it's like whenever we can get in between soccer and football and softball and all the other spring sports. In Mustang, we could be a little more structured with our strength training, and like I could tell kids to go on a long run on Sundays, and they would go. But it's just, different levels. But this is my first year at this school, so I think like in the next couple of years we can get to that level with these kids as they kind of acclimate to the training and everything. So.
And you said that they were running when you were in Oklahoma, they were running 30 to 50 miles. What are they running your athletes now in the 2A? What is I understand 6A, 2A, larger schools, but like why was the training different at a 6A school versus a 2A?
Honestly, it's because at Mustang, the previous coach that just retired this year actually had been there for about 30 years, and he had just driven this program to success for like since the 80s. Truly,
Wow.
he had just been a staple there in the community and at the school, and so he just had a culture of like, this is what we do, and the kids rose to the occasion. They did it, which was really incredible to see.
And they competed well based off that training. Yeah.
Yeah, they finished second at state in cross country this year, I believe, and have had, I mean, Coach McGarry, the man would carry his state championship rings on a carabiner because he's the woodworking coach too. So he carried a carabiner on his belt. He had like 8 of them.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But so what are they running at where you're at now, 2A smaller school?
I'd say maybe 15 to 20. I kind of have them run the same way I ran in high school, just more based on time.
Yeah.
And then I think like in the next few years, we've got kind of a young team. We've got like 4 kids on our distance squad that are all freshmen that are just doing amazing. But I think over the next few years, I could probably tell them like, hey, go out for 4 miles, and they'll be like, no sweat, no problem. So
nice. Yeah, I think I mean, I know nothing about, cross country or coaching cross country, but, 15, 20, maybe 25, 30 sounds reasonable. I would still, kind of that 50 miles for a high school cross country seems high for the fact that they're still developing. And so like, how are you hindering the development? But then you look back and it's like, all right, well, I played high school football and like lifted weights and like how, we didn't care about development now, but back then, but now science has just taken over and there's been so many studies that come out and, but at the same time, you have kids that are 13, 14, 15 running marathons. So it's just, I don't know. I would wonder about like their physical development and is that helping or is that, taking away? But it seems like what you're doing is you're putting in, you're thinking through that and, smartly applying their training to it, to a degree that they can handle it.
And I didn't prescribe them weekly mileage either. My college coach did. He gave us, say 35 or 35 plus, but, I just told my kids to, especially on junk mileage days, just to like go out and do what feels good.
Yeah.
I mean, something I've learned is like your body doesn't know the difference between like a 31 and a 35 mile week most of the time. Or like I got to a point in college where I was like, oh, I got to go that extra like 0.07 to hit the nice round number.
Running around the parking lot to get that.
Right. No, he doesn't know the difference. So I'm like, just go do what feels good. And obviously if we had like little muscular things going on or any kind, like they felt comfortable enough to tell me and we'd adjust. So
that's good.
Yeah, they were really good kids. They were really open and honest and they would run themselves into the ground if you let them. So
well, that's why they, have a coach that can bring them back down. So let's jump into you a little bit. So after your collegiate career, where did you go? Did you jump into the half marathon? Like you see so many people do, or where did you go from there?
So right after I ran cross country regionals my senior year, that next weekend there was a trail race that I don't even remember how I got like interested in it, but I just signed up for it randomly. It was a 25K and I was like, I'll go do it. I want to go run trails. And so I did that the next day. And then the day after, it was like a double event. There was a 15K. I got all my friends to go run the 15K with me. So I raced like 3 days in a row, but I loved it. I was exhausted in the best way.
Awesome.
So it was nice to like have something to look forward to right after college was over. We moved to Oklahoma after I graduated and I started training out there and it was so flat and so hot that summer. But I guess the way I was training was similar to marathon training, but I just had no interest in the concrete or like how competitive, I guess, like road marathons really were. And I love being outside. Like that's the thing about the trails is like it just felt effortless. Mm-hmm. So I guess the first trail ultra that I did was down in Norman, Oklahoma. It was the Lake Thunderbird 50K, and it was relatively flat. It was a looped course, and I had no idea what I was getting into. I had done a couple of 20 milers, but beyond that like just totally unknown territory terrified me, but excited me in the best way. I was like, okay, here we go into the unknown. And I hit a wall of darkness briefly and then ate something and then felt better and finished well. And then signed up for a 50 miler. And the darkness didn't really come in that one. I felt like I understood the formula. And yeah, I've been like signing up for races and training ever since. We moved out to Tennessee for the mountains and I train in the Smokies now, which is amazing. It's dream come true, actually.
We had someone on recently that lives in the Appalachian area and runs trails out there. And so I got to ask, cause you're kind of in that same region. There's weird stuff that happens in the Appalachian Mountains and Smoky Mountains. Have you ever have you experienced anything weird, or have you been out at night and you're like, oh, this is creepy by yourself, or I don't know.
I have been out at night. I think probably the weirdest thing that's happened to us. We were camping out at Frozen Head State Park,
Nice.
where the Barkley takes
Yeah.
place. We moved out here strategically for that. Anyway, we were camping out there this last summer, and we camped at like the farthest away backcountry site, and it was like 4:50 in the morning. There were no bug sounds, no bird sounds, and I woke up to just the most eerie, like bellowing sound that I had never heard before. Like I couldn't place it. I had no idea what it was. And my husband Josh wakes up and I'm like, be quiet. I want to know what it is. I want to let it get closer because we could hear it walking around and it was big and like it was echoing around the valley. And we knew there were wild pigs out there and we had heard and seen those. We've seen bears in the Smokies. We know what those are like. And we just couldn't place it at all. So I started recording and eventually we got kind of freaked out and Josh shined his flashlight and we hear it run away. And we go down to the park office the next morning after having some wild hogs come up while we were like cooking our oats over the fire. We're like, okay, maybe we should go down to the park office and ask about some of these things. And we played the sound for the lady. She said, I think that's an elk. And we're like, we didn't know they were out there. She's like, we've seen them on game cams like every once in a while. But she's like, yeah, I think that's an elk. And so, of course, as soon as we got signal, I'm like on YouTube and I'm like, I think that might be what it was. But that's the only weird thing we've had happen. Nothing like cryptid or Bigfooty happening out here I know of.
Because the Smokies are just, they're an eerie place. They can be.
There's some really cool like old structures out here, old settlements that are like historic sites and like cool for tourists and stuff, but it's crazy how long people have been out here.
Yeah. So you Frozen Head, are you gonna sign up for the Barkley Classic or are you gonna try to go?
So I signed up. I'm waiting to hear back anything. I have no idea if I'll be able to get into that or not.
What a weird way. Laz is so weird.
I love him. He's amazing. He's my hero.
That's awesome. So you're fresh off of a podium finish as of yesterday, right?
Yes, the Promised Land 50K put on by Dr. David Horton, also a Barkley finisher, pretty much a legend as well.
Yeah, he's a legend out in that area. I mean, he's a legend everywhere.
He's a legend,
yeah.
A legend to some.
He's, you know what? He has the AT or had the AT multiple times, the FKT.
Then he
got taken and he goes back and gets it. So
didn't he have the Transamerica too?
Did he have the Transamerica FKT?
I think so. I could be wrong. I thought he had Transamerica for a while.
Yeah. God, that's just impressive to me. Like, I have no desire. I like running long distance, don't get me wrong. I have zero desire to go do a through hike. None.
I kind of want to try it. I think
None.
I'm a teacher, so I think I could take a summer to do it.
God,
I think it'd be fun.
No desire. Robbie, what about you? Robbie's like a nomad. I feel like he's the one that would just like go out and do it.
I'd love to do it.
I know.
Just
not
take
me.
a summer off and spend it every day out on the trail.
Yeah.
No. Especially not the AT, because then, I'd be out whistling and be like, shit, I forgot you're not supposed to whistle.
Yeah, no AT. It'd have to be like, I want to do the Continental Divide.
The Continental Divide.
Yeah.
That's the harder of the three. Yeah, man, crazy. So talk to us.
Hold on, I gotta. So
go ahead.
Sorry. So actually, no marathon, no road, nothing. Right into trails.
Oh well, I did. Okay, I did do the OKC marathon last spring, unintentionally.
Unintentionally, you just like happen to stumble on it.
It was about 48 hours before the race. Someone reached out to me on Strava and said, "Hey, we need a pacer. Can you pace? I don't know if you've done a marathon before, but we know that you're fast." And I had just raced, I think, in February, and the marathon actually takes place this weekend, which I guess
it was today.
Yeah, it was today.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was a year ago. That was a terrible, terrible experience. I had a student at Mustang, an athlete that was like, "Hey, I just randomly signed up for this, and what should I do in these next few days?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, like let's buckle down and train." And then yeah, they reached out to me and asked if I could pace, and I was like, "I guess I haven't really been training since February, my most previous race. Like I had been training a little, but I had been mostly focusing on coaching." And so I came to practice the next day and I was like, "Hey, guess what? I'm also running this with you." And so we were both game planning and yeah, it was really hard, honestly terrible. I like seized up completely at like 16 or 17 miles and um had never had an experience that poor during a race, if I'm honest. But I totally failed at pacing. I was supposed to pace 3:30 and ran like a 3:47. But it was a good experience and failure. And I have a new respect for marathoners for sure, because I'm never gonna do that again.
Was it the organization that reached out to you about pacing?
It was
Like the pacing usually it's subcontracted out to
yeah,
like Beast Pacing or something like that.
yeah, it wasn't like their fleet feet. It was one of like the running clubs kind of
Got you.
organizations that
I
reached
just find it absolutely wild that they would reach out to somebody who's never ran a marathon in their life.
You and me both.
And a 3:30 marathon's fast.
Yeah.
Like, I understand you're fast. I get that. But at the same time, it's like you've never ran a marathon in your life and they wanted you to pace a 3:30 marathon.
Didn't you say? Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. But honestly, I was like, I think I can do that.
Yeah,
Sure,
I could do
I'm
that.
gonna try.
So what'd you run this 50K in yesterday?
Just under 6 hours. It was like 5:59 and some change.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which I think I don't think I got the best out of myself yesterday. I definitely want to go back. It was the most beautiful course I've ever been on. Virginia itself was just gorgeous, but the event was so cool. Dr. Horton is really cool. The people are good. Like it was good competition too. I think if I like made some minor changes in like the first half of the race, like I think I could go around 5:30 hopefully. So
When you're you show up to a race, are you anticipating podium, or like are you going to the front like I'm going out to win this thing, that type of thing, or are you just showing up and like let's see what happens?
my goal this race was to be top 3 women, and hopefully be around 5:20 or 5:30. That kind of disappeared because that first incline is about 4 miles and 1,500 feet of elevation, and we started in the dark, and so I started, and I've been training specifically for this race, so I feel like my training, my lead up was actually really good. The decision that I made early on to kind of go out a little hard because I could see so many headlamps up ahead of me and not knowing like how many of them were women, how many were like gonna die off later. This is the most competitive field that I had been in, so I went out a little hard and paid for it and then kind of bounced back around mile like 14, 15, and had a decent like back half of the race for sure. But yeah, I think redeeming myself at the end to get third helps my experience overall. But I definitely want to go back for more. I want to try see what I can get out of myself that day.
For sure. What does your fueling strategy look like for someone who's running, a fast 50K?
I've only just recently switched to gels. It had been primarily sour gummy worms and the nerd gummy clusters.
That's
Those
kind
are
of
fun.
hard to do when you're competitively running it.
Yeah,
Right?
true.
Just discovered that they're harder to chew now that
Yeah,
I'm running
yeah.
a little bit faster. I have like done some rice because I'm much more of like a savory person than a sweet
Mhm.
person. So I'll do some rice with like some everything bagel seasoning on it.
Yeah. Like no
Um,
rice balls? Is that what we're talking
yeah,
about? Yeah.
yeah. In the Black Toe 24-hour run, I did burritos, a lot of burritos, because those are just easy to
Yeah.
grab, force down. But no, and a lot of noon. I don't really like like Tailwind, or I haven't really experimented with a lot of different hydration things, but I like Noon because it's a little bit fizzy.
Yeah.
Then a swig of Coke every once in a while helps.
God, why is Coke so good in an Ultra? It's amazing. I don't drink it any other time, but in an Ultra, it's just like, I gotta have Coke. Give me Coke.
Yep. You started like daydreaming about Coke.
Here's my sticky collapsible cup that I got 4 races ago. Fill it up 14 times.
Or you fill up your soft flask and it sprays all over in your vest.
I've never done that. I've never
You
done
haven't?
that. That's
Oh, don't.
funny.
Yeah, well,
no, I haven't filled up the soft flask. I'll have to do that. I don't like flat Coke, so like running with it, would be, I don't know.
Oh,
That's
I
weird.
never.
That's funny though.
No, I always just like take a little swig. I've never. Yeah, I couldn't imagine running with it.
I have done the sweet tea though. Sweet tea in your soft flask.
Yeah.
Me and Robbie, we got that from somebody. I forget who told us, but
it was oh, what's his name?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
But yeah, he told us like he uses sweet tea in his soft flask, and the Milo sweet tea, it has like 50 or 60 grams of carbs. I mean, sugar. It's just pure sugar, but it's not bad. I mean, it's a quick boost, and like you can down it super fast, and yeah, it works.
Basically, hummingbird food.
Basically, yeah, you become a hummingbird after you drink it. Just buzzing all over the place.
Oh, that's a great idea. Hummingbird food.
Yeah.
Just sugar
What's,
water with some red dye.
40.
What are you drinking over there? I don't worry about it.
I need to get a sponsorship. Nerds Gummies and Red 40.
Oh my gosh. Fire Nerds Cluster's so good. They're phenomenal.
They're so good.
I have them on every run. They're amazing.
Yeah, they're delicious.
They're hard to chew if you're going fast. I will admit that, but they're good.
I bought a bag yesterday, and I was all excited to take them on a run today. And as soon as I opened the car door, I was like, I didn't bring the clusters.
I thought you were about to say you ate them before the night before.
No.
Laying in bed, watching movies, eating clusters.
Sometimes you have to try them to make sure they're still good.
I mean, yeah, you got to try the whole bag just to see if they're going to work or not. But.
That's right.
So what's next? What race do you have on the docks for next?
So we're going to India this summer.
Oh, that's exciting.
For about a month. So I'm not sure what training's going to get to look like during that time. But when I come back in July, going to hit the training really hard. Again,
July in Tennessee is a perfect time to really hit training hard. You know, it's only 150 degrees and.
Listen, after training for a summer in Oklahoma, I will never complain about heat again. I mean, when it's like 98 degrees at 5 a.m.
Yep.
Nope, I won't do it. But yes, in the Smokies, it gets a little humid, but there's so many water crossings and stuff. I just jump in a creek and then I'm okay again. But
nice.
Yeah, training over the summer. Barkley Fall Classic is the first one I have on my list, but really hoping to find another one. And hoping to like probably try for 100 in the next year.
Okay.
So.
Do you have any hundreds that you're like, I got to run this one?
I've got a few on the list. I just don't know which one to do first.
Let Golden Hour Adventures pick for you, please.
Yeah, yes.
Drop them. Drop them. What hundreds are they?
Well, I listened to your talk with someone about the Bear. And I've also thought about Arkansas Traveler.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
Traveler's fast.
Yeah.
Traveler's gravel road, so it's fast.
Okay.
So if you're looking for a fast 100.
I do better on single track. I like technical single track a lot.
So Traveler is mostly gravel roads.
Yep.
Beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
It's also on my list of races to do, but do know it's a lot of gravels.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the single track is what I'm here for. That's what yesterday's race kind of came down to. It was the race for third in the last 4 miles that the girl I had been like leapfrogging back and forth with all day. I had noticed like I would catch up to her on like the technical descents. And so knowing those last 4 miles were going to be all downhill, I just like cashed out and went for it. So the rockier the better, actually.
Nice. Well, Traveler's probably not the one for you then.
Okay.
Bear. Okay, the Bear. What else?
anything that's close by, because this being so new to the sport, and
I hate to tell you, the Bear's not close to you.
No.
I know, and I'm still getting used to, like, I'm still like familiarizing myself with races out here. But like being a teacher, I have weekends and holidays
Yeah.
and summer, and otherwise I'm taking a sick day, which I have for a couple of races.
There's some really good races, like the Pinhoti is a really good one. It's a pretty old one.
That was
Yeah.
one I was actually.
I've been on the Pinhoti Trail a little bit. It's a beautiful trail. That'd be a great one. What's
Got the
Robbie,
Georgia
what's that
Death
one in
Race.
Georgia that has like
Georgia Death Race.
Georgia Death
yeah,
Race.
that's a 70. That's a 74.
It's 70 miles
mile.
now. It used to
yeah.
be. It used to be 100 miles. But
Yeah.
what about what is it? The Grindstone.
Grindstone in Virginia. That's another
Virginia.
good one.
That
Then
one.
there's Blood.
The
What's the
50K.
Blood something?
What's the
The
one
Geor-
that goes up Dragon Spine? Or Dragon's
I think
Back?
I think it's called Dragon's Back.
No, it's an actual. It's the same elevation climb as Hard Rock.
That's the Death Race, isn't it?
No, it's.
What
I
is
think
it?
a lot of it's on that same trail, but I can't remember what the name of it. Oh my gosh, I
know.
can't think of. Anyway, it's a 100-miler. It has like 33,000 foot of climb, but it has a pretty decent like 48-hour cutoff. So,
Okay.
there's a lot of great races. But Pinhoti, I know is a really good race. I have friends that have run that race before and have nothing but great things to say about it.
Cool.
I think it's an older one too, so it's going to have a little bit of history. The buckle's really cool because it's got turkey imprints on it. So I don't know how far you are from that Alabama, Georgia area, but
We're pretty close. I ran the Georgia Jewel back.
Oh,
in
okay.
Georgia Jewel. Georgia
Yeah,
Jewel.
that
Yeah.
one was good.
Isn't it the Georgia Jewel?
it's not the Jewel. No,
No.
I don't know. Anyway, is the Georgia Jewel a 50-miler and a 100-miler?
It's a 50.
I don't know.
Mm.
It's something like that, and it might be the same race directors. Anyway, yeah, there's a Pinhoti. Those are some great ones. I'm sure Tennessee has some really good ones. That Laz is like 340 miles across Tennessee or something.
I've been thinking about that one, the Ball State.
Ball
I
State.
think I'm ready for it, but I do have that on my someday list for sure.
We interviewed someone that had done Vol State, and his story was so hilarious. Some of his hallucinations and some of his what was it, Robbie, where he tore the liners out of his pants,
Oh yeah.
and then he didn't take them out. He just flopped them over.
Didn't you buy
So he
underwear
said
in
it
a
just
dollar
looks like-
store too?
Yeah, he was wearing dollar store sandals.
Yeah.
He said he was just sitting at a McDonald's on a bench, and everybody thought he was homeless.
That's the kind of adventure I want, and the
Oh.
self-resilient, like the self.
340 miles on the road, though, that'd be brutal.
Yeah, but
in the heat of July.
oh, the
Oh, my
stories
gosh.
though.
The
Stories.
Yeah, you would have some. You would have some stories. That'd be crazy. Robbie, you want to hit her with the quick fires?
Let's do it. You ready for some quickfire questions?
I think so.
All right. You should know the answers to all of them, but maybe two. Go-to shoes.
Brooks for road. Solomon's Sense Ride 5, I think, are the trail shoes that I have.
Nice.
I have a couple pair of those. I use them
Yeah, I
for
used to
work
love
now.
the Sense Rides. I ran my first 100 in the Sense Rides.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
The drop's just too much for me. Just a little too high. But all right.
I like them. I like the quick lace thing.
Yeah.
I wish other companies would do that.
I really do too. I don't like the BOA system on some of the shoes that I have. I'm not a fan of the BOAs, but I do like that quick lace thing. That is really nice.
Yeah. Well, you kind of hit on it. Let's say, what's your favorite hydration pack vest that you wear?
I have a Solomon. It's red. I don't remember what kind it is. But
It's red. It's Solomon. There you go.
It's almond.
red Solomon.
All the salmon packs vests are good.
Yeah.
Well, you said that your nutrition is none. And you talked about real food, so we can't answer or ask that question. Okay. Go to running shorts.
Oh man. Um, my favorite pair I think is like an Old Navy pair that I've had since high school.
Nice.
And I thrift a lot, so I'm gonna go with Carm Store, local thrifting like company in this area.
That's awesome. That's
That
the
is awesome.
best.
Yeah.
You know, so many people are like that. We've had so many athletes on that say that they thrift most of their stuff, and I get it. Stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
I know it's like we decide what we want to spend our money on for the stuff, essentials, shoes or whatever, race vests, doesn't matter, poles. Then other stuff is like shorts, shirts, whatever, hats, like thrift store stuff works or cheaper stuff.
Epitome of fashion.
Yeah.
All right, fun question. If you could be any dinosaur, which dinosaur would you be?
Oh. Man.
There's only like,
It's really
a
serious.
couple hundred answers that you could give.
There's a lot. Gosh.
You stumped her, Robbie.
Yeah. Darn it. I just had my art students do a like extinct animal project too, so there should be a good amount of these in my brain. I'm gonna go I think I'm gonna go with, is it a bronchiosaur that's like got the long neck?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one I'm going with.
Brontosaurus?
Brontosaurus.
Brontosaurus? I'm
I don't
going with
know.
that one because I think the fruit snacks that are shaped like that taste the best.
Oh, that's the best. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
I like that.
You could be just eating stuff off the trees at the very top, but you know what? The fruit snacks, though.
Yeah, the fruit snacks.
Please.
Now I'm gonna have to go find those fruit snacks.
Oh my gosh, I know exactly the ones you're talking about. As soon as you said it, they popped in my mind. I was like, "Yep, I know which one you're talking about."
All right, last question. There's a bucket of grapes. There's 1,000 grapes in this bucket.
Okay.
You get $5,000 for every grape you eat, but one of them is poisonous and will kill you. How many grapes are you going to eat?
How many grapes are in the bucket?
1,000.
Okay, and it's $1,000 per grape?
5,000.
5,000 per grape.
Yeah. The one will kill you.
Uh-huh. I'll eat one. I'll eat one. I'm pretty risk averse, and I'm also pretty easy to please on a low budget. So I'll eat one.
Perfect.
Hopefully, it's not the one.
Yeah.
Life without risk, not life at all.
I like these answers. Like some people are like, oh, I'm a risk taker. Then other people are like, no, I like my life too much. I'm not eating any of them.
Robbie said he'd eat like 100 of them. I'm like, good.
I said 999.
Oh, did you?
I'm definitely gonna die, but
You're definitely dying. Wait, we got to figure out though. Like, if you die, does somebody else get the money, or
oh,
what? Or does the money go away? I'm saying the money goes away. Like, if you don't live, you don't get to keep the money.
we could add to this question though. Then it makes it even harder.
We could just build on it.
Who would you give the money to if you died?
There you go. Now
All
we're
right,
getting
we'll ask
really analytical.
We'll ask you, if you did die, who would you give the money to?
I guess my husband. He
Good
takes
answer.
care of all of our money anyway. He's the one that gets me to races, crews for me, and stuff like that. So
Awesome.
he's earned it.
Awesome. Well, Ashley, where can people find you? Social media? You have a website, or?
I've got an Instagram. It's Ashley Pipkin Crew is the Instagram, usually run by my husband. He does a great job. He's also, I think, set up a Twitter and like a Threads account that's like all connected with it. So yeah, give me a follow out there, I guess. And the content is somewhat infrequent, but you might get a laugh. So Maybe.
Perfect.
Might pay off.
Well, go out if you're out there, hit her up, follow her on Instagram, and let's cheer her on for her next podium finish.
Thank you, guys.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please do us a favor. We talked about it at the beginning, but we need the YouTube love. We need the podcast love. So leave us a review, leave us a comment, good or bad. We don't care. Reviews are reviews. You know, there's no bad publicity. So leave us a review, leave us a comment on the Instagram page that we're going to post this on, and we will see you on the trails.